Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Geeks and a Noob podcast with your host, Super Beard Vince Hoover, and his co-hosts, Jason Q. Perez and Denise Jackson. A podcast for the indoctrinated nerd, the casual fan, and everyone in between. Now, on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Two Geeks and a Noob. I am Super Beard Vince Hoover. To my right is Jason Q. Perez. Down below is Denise Jackson, our resident noob. Here so we can cover every base of the spectrum when it comes to all things nerdy. Quick catch up. I understand our first episode was a little bit rough. We just decided to go for it, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. On top of that, Denise and I have also started a supplementary podcast called Questions from a Noob, where she can ask questions about anything nerdy that she has, and hopefully these are questions that you have too, and hopefully I can answer them. We did end up talking a lot about what might come up in episode 2 of Loki, and sure enough, episode 2 Loki, and there it is. Episode 2 of Loki has come and gone, and my God, what an episode!
Yeah, my brain still hurts.
Yeah, so I took just one or two notes, just a couple.
Oh, jeez.
Just one or two. And Denise, I know you just finished watching the episode. Q has his notes as well. Just one or two. Quickly, I want to get your impression on the episode. And like you've already told us, you got to watch it again. But
yeah,
I do like the fact that you watched it just before coming on, so it's nice and fresh in your brain. What did you think? And what kind of things are going on in your head now?
I think it's insane that this is only episode 2 and it's already as in depth as it is. It just makes me excited to see what else is there to come then. There was a lot of information in this episode. It was like I had to stop and rewind and be like, okay, wait. Okay. Oh, wait, no, go back. What did they say? It was just a lot of information, but it was really, really good. I liked it. I can't wait to watch it again.
I know. I promise you subtitles are your best friend when it comes to this show.
I can see that.
Yes. I always watch it with subtitles. Q, you've watched it twice now, you said?
Yeah. I kind of watched it on my way home. I did not just admit to watching video while driving. So
hypothetically, you watched it on your way home.
Right. So then I got home and watched it once again. So it was pretty cool. I like watching Loki to see where his mind is going. I see he doesn't have a whole lot of trust in Mobius, giving him these loose promises and meeting the timekeepers. And it makes you wonder, Loki, in his mind, he's always thinking away of getting some kind of advantage. And if he's going to hunt another version of himself, he's thinking about, aligning himself with that one, or even something even more devious. So I love watching his mind work and seeing where this is going, where his character is making the choices.
Absolutely. Now, I will say that we didn't say it at the very beginning, but if it isn't obvious, spoilers for episode 2 of Loki. Yeah,
spoilers.
Diving into that. I have so many series. Okay, so Loki is, like, we all thought there was a major character shift to his personality at the end of the first episode. After watching his entire life go literally flash before his eyes on that film roll, and then him admitting that I'm not evil. I don't like to hurt people. It's all part of the illusion. Turns out, though, old habits are hard to break, and he's still the trickster god. And so we see that he has a plan. He has a ploy that comes out at the end of the episode, and we'll get to that. But some of the things I wanted to mention, well, first and foremost, is it just me, or do Wednesdays come a lot faster than Fridays?
Yes.
Like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, waiting until Friday for those episodes felt like an eternity. And here I felt like I just watched episode 1, and now we're on episode 2, and I couldn't be more excited about that.
Okay, please forgive me. I'm having some technical issues, and it's works.
Boobies. Okay, go ahead.
Are you like attached to a hookah, or what do you have going on over there?
Me?
Yeah.
I just have it plugged in and charging while I'm using it. I'm not fancy.
I mean, that's pretty fancy. You can like plug in your smoking device now.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. So, like, am I the only one who thinks that though? That Wednesdays are coming? Like, it just seems to come so much faster. Like
I
Mm,
think,
I don't know.
like I'm not feeling as much weight, and part of it could also be that us doing this podcast is a lot different because I'm talking about it so much more than I was before, and I'm looking.
yeah,
So maybe that's part of it too. But it does feel like I kind of hope Disney sticks to Wednesdays instead of Fridays, especially
Mm,
since we're getting ready to go back into theaters. Theaters are opening
mm.
back up. Movies premieres on. I mean, premiere technically on
Um,
Thursdays, but Fridays are when is the
right,
big premiere day.
right,
You don't want to like have an episode of premiere that same day too. You know.
right.
So,
Yeah. Also helps break the monotony of the middle of the week.
oh my God, yeah. And I know like it might be harder for some people because at least on Friday you're off work and you got your weekend, you know, your typical 9 to 5ers, and then you can relax and watch it, and you have the weekend for it. But I think with Wednesday, it's almost a treat, and it actually gives you like the old cliche, you know, water cooler talk
Right.
for your week as well.
yeah.
Or I could just be, you know, rambling, but that's okay. Something I want to
I,
state that happened before the episode. There was an interview with Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, and he has stated that Loki is the most important out of all the Disney Plus series for the future of the MCU, and I think we see why at the end of this episode.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's pretty clear how, it ended. It's giving way to even the title of the next movie.
Yeah. Um,
Introducing new characters. I didn't even know there was a Lady Loki, so that was just really, really cool to see his personality and like a totally different aspect of himself. That was just their banter back and forth, kind of like mind games. That
yeah.
was neat.
I did find it interesting she hated being called Loki.
Yeah.
Like she didn't like that name. And there's actually a little Easter egg. We'll get back to that. There's something I want to point out that you guys might have missed because it doesn't come until the Spanish credits roll.
Oh,
So
Oh.
most people turn it off by then. Now it wasn't a scene. It was actually just it was part of the credits. Well, let's get into it because it's part of there's a prevailing theory that this isn't actually Lady Loki. And
Okay.
I believe it is Lady Loki. I think it's a double swerve on Marvel's part, but in the Spanish credits, the person who does the Spanish dub for Sofia Di Martino, her character's name is Sylvie, not variant Loki like in the English credits. Her
huh.
name is Sylvie. Now, why is that important? Sylvie is the name of the human body that the second Enchantress took over after Ragnarok. So instead of it being Lady Loki, there are some people believing that it's Enchantress because Lady Loki in the comics has black hair. Enchantress has blonde hair.
Mhm.
And this Lady Loki seems to hate the name Loki, and the second Enchantress hates her father Loki. So there is some possibility that this is actually Enchantress and not Lady Loki. However, I think it's a double swerve. I think they're combining the two characters, and that it is Lady Loki, but the body she took over was Sylvie. So instead of taking over Lady Sif's body in the comics, like she did, she took over Sylvie's body. And they do this a lot with characters in the MCU. There's a lot of characters that get combined. Like look at the Flag Smashers from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The lead Flag Smasher, Carly, was a gender swapped version of the original Flag Smasher, but also they were all called Flag Smashers when that was just one character. So
Mhm.
they are willing to manipulate and change things and meld things together. So um,
Do you think that was intentional to put like an Easter egg in there where not a lot of people would see it, or was that like a mistake? Or
I definitely don't think it's a mistake. I think it is intentional. I also think it is. Like I said, I think it's a double swerve. I think it's Marvel going, we're gonna lay this out there because you guys like to throw all the Mephisto theories out there.
Yeah.
Because WandaVision was nothing but it's Mephisto, and I was part of that. I have to admit, I thought it was gonna be Mephisto because Mephisto is tied directly to Wanda's kids, but it wasn't
okay.
Mephisto. So I think this is their. Here you go. Here you go.
It's a
Jump
little
on
bit
it.
of bait.
Light on it. I dare you.
I dare you.
I think it's Marvel just having fun at this point. Especially with things like TikTok and whatnot, where theories become so much more prevalent. You know, Reddit, all that kind of stuff.
Do you think they actually take that into consideration in writing future scripts then?
Yes. And I can point to that. Remember how you and I talked on the Questions for a Noob about the Peter Potter the Peter Parker retcon of the kid at the Stark Expo being retconned to be Peter Parker.
That is so cool. Can you say that again? Because I
Yes.
really like that.
So in Iron Man 2, when Whiplash sends his drones after the crowd,
Right.
you see a scene of a kid wearing an Iron Man mask and a toy repulsor ray stand up to one of the robots, I guess, because he thought it was part of the show, or he's a kid, thought he could do something. Iron Man saves him, and he was like, good job, kid, or something like that. Later on, it got retconned that was Peter Parker, which is why Peter Parker loves Tony Stark so much. That was based off a fan theory on Reddit.
Cool.
Marvel loved it so much. Well, Tom Holland loved it first. Tom Holland found it, brought it to Marvel, and Marvel's like, yeah, let's run with that.
That's
so
neat.
They do pay attention to this kind of stuff. And they also pay attention in a way that, hey, you see how everybody's talking about Mephisto for WandaVision? We're not doing that. Because the Mephisto talked before they even started production. So they had every opportunity, if they were going to put Mephisto in it, to take him out. So as much as they're all about giving the fans those Easter eggs, they're also petty enough to take them away.
Okay.
And I find it funny.
So I wonder if that fan got like a Marvel package sent to them because they used their
Probably not.
idea.
Probably.
That would have been awesome though if they did
Yeah,
that.
but it's one of those things
Send
that
them a card or
it gets
something.
lost on Reddit. It's hard to find the original. Because that theory gained legs before Tom Holland found it, so it's kind of hard to find the original. And sometimes the original gets deleted from over... Like, Reddit has this weird thing where they delete things that get over-commented on
Oh, okay.
to make space. They try to archive it. They don't delete it, they archive it. But then it makes it almost impossible to find. So... Crap, I had a point. Okay, so let's talk about the opening scene.
Yeah.
Where the TVA gets ambushed to the tune of I Need a Hero by Bonnie Taylor.
Yeah.
Can we
Pretty
talk about
popular
the fact
song
that,
these days.
Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah.
It was in the He-Man trailer. It was
Yeah.
in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game trailer. It was in some NBA trailer. It was in all kinds of stuff recently. It's been in commercials. It's like the hottest song at the moment.
Racking up them
Shrek
royalties.
did it first though.
Yeah, I think it was done before Shrek, considering it's
Oh.
from
Yeah.
the 80s.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I mean, like in a movie, maybe.
no, it was in a
used
movie.
before,
I
but
Need a Hero. It comes from it was written for a movie, I believe. Flashdance. It was in Flashdance.
I know we had it on some dancing platform for the video game.
Yeah, it wasn't Dance Dance Revolution.
No, I forgot what it was, but you were pretty good at that. kick,
Yeah.
spin.
Yeah, that was
Just
a
the
good
one
time. That was a good time.
Yeah.
I looked
Footloose.
ridiculous. But I find it weird that song is suddenly just like, where I remember it from? My first true incarnation of that. It's not from Flashdance, even though I did watch it as a kid. Gallagher, in one of his biggest stand-up specials, the end part where he's smashing watermelons is to that song.
Oh, nice.
And that's where there's always that one thing that triggers when you hear a song. It's like
Yeah.
that song, Sometimes I Know I Got to Run Away.
Yeah.
I only think of Coneheads. Like, so,
Yes.
so that's like, so,
I think Marvel's gonna do that for a lot of songs. They're just making a lot of songs popular again.
yeah. But see, that's another thing. James Gunn basically went out on his own when he decided to bring all those classic songs into Guardians of the Galaxy. Marvel, of course, approved it, loved it, and it's become par for the course. You had it in Ragnarok with the Immigrant Song by, Led Zeppelin, and you've had it in other movies. And now here we are in Loki, and I Need a Hero's blaring in the Renaissance Fair tent while she beats the ever-loving crap out of the TVA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which does tell me she's the superior Loki, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Because she didn't get captured. And hasn't gotten captured.
She's also displaying powers of the Mind Stone inside the scepter with her finger. No relic needed.
Okay, I can actually explain that. I had explained that to somebody else earlier today. So, when Loki comes in Avengers, he doesn't possess people using his own mind. He uses the Mind Stone to do it with the scepter, right? Well, at that time, Loki is also under the power of the scepter, which is why he looks like crap when he lands. Loki can possess other people, but the difference was if he possesses people with his own power, it's just Loki in their body. So it's not, he doesn't get any of the secrets out of their head because he's taken over their body and he's taken over their mind. He doesn't know what they're thinking. What the Mind Stone did, it was open the minds of Hawkeye and Dr. Selvig and all those people, but it also allowed them to spill all the secrets of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything else to Loki so they could get the job done. So this Loki can do that as well, which is why he recognizes it almost immediately. But, excuse me.
So then my first noob question then
Go
would
for
be when the main TVA agent, when she was overtaken by Loki, when she like woke up after, they all like pass out and they're like, oh, they're not dead. They wake up. She like had an expression on her face where she kind of knew something, and then going back to the agent in the tent, she just kept waking up saying it's real, it's real, it's real, it's real. Like, so what is that about?
Okay, so that is something I don't think is going to be answered yet. It will be answered in the series, and when I think she says it's real, either she meant the bomb to create the break in the timeline was real, or the fact that it's all fake is real. Is that what the timekeepers are doing is nothing more than propaganda to set their own narrative.
Yeah, but how would she get that information if
Lady
Loki
Loki tortured her, most likely.
Oh, okay.
And like showed her. It's like, I'm doing this, like I'm letting you live while the rest of them die. I've killed every other TV agent, but I'm letting you live, one, so you can tell me where the timekeepers are, which she admits to doing.
Yeah.
And two, so you can tell them it's real.
Oh, okay.
So that's, I think something we'll find out more about.
Do you think she could possibly have been projecting a nightmare and maybe she's working with Nightmare?
That is a possibility. We've already got the name drop of Nightmare from episode 1. I think the person she's working with is King Loki, which will be played by Richard E. Grant as part of the Council of Lokis. Because there was that comment that Loki has had more variants than almost anybody else in the entire history of the TVA.
Yep.
Yes, and that was really funny watching them.
All the different kinds of Lokis.
They showed like the first one they showed was a Loki but blue, like he kept his frost giant look.
Yeah.
The second one was basically a jab at Lance Armstrong for cheating.
In Tour de France.
Tour de France. Then you had like that weird like Mr. Hyde looking Hulk-ish
one. Then like a genuine Viking look.
Yeah, you had a barbarian one. And they were and something else they did, they were very adamant about using the pronoun he whenever they talked about the variant Loki they were hunting.
Mm-hmm.
He. And then it turns out to be Lady Loki, showing that the TVA really doesn't know what's going on.
No.
There's also a very spiritual and existential moment in this episode. When Mobius and Loki discuss what the timekeepers are and what it means. And Mobius breaks it down. It's like, wait a minute. Your father's a frost giant. Your adoptive father is Odin the god. You live on a magical planet with magic and all that. So he's like, and yet me believing in the timekeepers is ridiculous. Like, when you spell it out, it's all ridiculous. Because it's, in human words, it's not going to make sense.
He says existence is chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what, with spirituality, like, you try to tell somebody who's never, ever heard of any form of religion at all, and you try to explain any religion to them, whether it be Christianity, Scientology, which Judaism, but like any religion whatsoever with a higher
Yeah.
power, it can sound ridiculous as you try to put it in human terms because these things are above that. And that's what Mobius was trying to say. It's like, I just believe. It's basically, he said, I have faith.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that being said, I had a thought about the timekeepers. And you tell
Yeah,
me
me
if this
too.
analogy fits. Because during that same conversation, he talks about how the timekeepers are pruning the future of infinite branches until we get to the end where it's nothing but peace and one sacred timeline. So everything in the past has been pruned, but they're still pruning the future.
Uh-huh.
Is it just me, or are the timekeepers nothing more than a bunch of hipsters culturally appropriating a bonsai and pruning it in their gentrification neighborhood?
Yeah, you could figure some kind of
They're just shaping it how they want. They're pruning whatever
Right.
branches they don't want and making it
that's
sound
been
like
called out many times before already in these first 2 episodes. That who are they to decide?
Right.
There is no free will. It is our fate that is being written by these alien lizards as looking.
Yes. He was like, so there is no free will.
Right.
So is that basically what you're saying?
Is there
Yeah.
free will that they're taking away from us? Are they, if obviously the fact that there are multiple branches means there's free will and they're pruning them down. So free will isn't an illusion. It's basically a privilege that they're no longer allowing us to have by pruning the timeline. Basically, the timekeepers have stepped up and said, we don't want you to have free will because we want to control the outcome of everything.
That would like kind of answer the question then why some people would be considered variants and others are not, considering they did almost the same exact thing that Loki did that they quote unquote he's a variant for. So
Yeah, exactly. So by making your choice, you then get wiped off the face of the earth based on 3
Right.
space lizards, as Loki put it.
Yeah.
But are we going to get a Wizard of Oz situation with the timekeepers?
I think we are. I think it's going to be. It's
Don't
going to be
open the
bad.
curtain.
Yeah, because like Mobius he's never even met the timekeepers.
Right.
Right. And he was just like, oh, I just believe.
But when
And
his
Loki even said that to him.
his meeting with Judge Renslayer in her office.
Yeah.
Very
I got some
interesting.
theories. Yeah, I got some theories about
Go for
that.
it. Go.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. I'm going to vomit it all out. All right. So, in short, really, I think, okay. So I see that he's showing signs of, admiration beyond professional relationship for her, and with what we know that, Renslayer in the comics has had a relationship with Kang. I feel that in the grand scope of it all, Kang is honey trapping her, Renslayer, and to either kill the timekeepers, or maybe he's already in control, and that he finds that Lady Loki is actually a really is a big threat to their control of the time stream. In fact, Lady Loki is a good guy.
I'm actually kind of on that same train, and I'm going to dive deeper into that. This is based partially on the conversation Denise and I had yesterday. So that is one of the theories. So there's another analyst that is bringing her treasures for her office, right?
Uh-huh.
What if Kang is the one bringing her those treasures, so as he hops through time?
Would that make sense for the pencil then? I know it said like Franklin Roosevelt High School.
Yeah,
That will come into play at
pencil.
some point because they did focus on that too much.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything on that just yet, but that will come into play.
the only thing I
no,
found
no, no.
on a breakdown was that it was Franklin D. Roosevelt that gave Captain America his shield.
So Kang the Conqueror, his real name is Nathaniel Richards.
Yeah, that's
He is
big.
a descendant of Reed Richards.
Right.
Wow.
Mhm.
Who is Reed Richards' first son? Franklin
Nathaniel.
Richards.
Yeah, the top omega level human.
Franklin.
Mutant.
Franklin. I believe his middle name starts with a D. Richards. FDR.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm not sure if his middle name starts with a D. I think it does. If it doesn't, still, the F and the R, and the fact that it's Franklin D. Roosevelt High School, Franklin Richards, I think that just popped into my head.
Well, that's interesting, and I feel like if anybody has any insight into that, please let us know, because we're going to be racking our brain about it.
Yes, if you have any idea about that at all, please comment down below.
Yeah. Also, I was curious about the watermarks on the seat next to him, and he was questioning her about that, and she was like, that was from you previously.
That could lead to a theory that's going around. It's a theory I don't believe in, but I still think it's worth mentioning. That the analyst and the agents in the TVA aren't actually born in the TVA, but instead are variants who have their minds wiped.
Oh.
The basis for that theory comes from Mobius's love of 1990s jet skis.
Yeah.
And that is somehow his subconscious trying to remember something from his past. I don't believe that. I think that changes a lot, and that's a lot to try to explain because the focus is Loki. So to dive into that, like, they're all variants that have been wiped. I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility because I see where the seeds are planted for that, which is where the theory came from in the first place. I just don't know if I believe that one or not, but I do think the jet ski is pretty interesting. And if this show doesn't end with Loki and Mobius on jet skis, I'm going to be pissed.
I know,
shit.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm not going to really be pissed, but I do want to see it.
All right. So his middle name
has to mean something,
going back to Franklin Richards,
Yes,
his middle
please do.
name is Benjamin.
Well, that ruins the entire thing I was thinking of. Don't mind me.
Oh,
I will
well.
hang my head in shame now.
It was
Metaphorically
a
hang
good
my head.
try.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of information, there was a lot of we have no idea where they're going to go with these little things that they made the camera focus too much.
Here's something else to think about. Kang, his armor is able to do holographic projection. So is it not feasible that he can, disguise himself as something or somebody else?
He absolutely can.
Hmm.
So that is a possibility.
He's already among us.
I still don't feel that they're going to bring Jonathan Majors and the actual character in. At best, I see it being almost like a Darth Maul post-credit scene from Solo kind of thing, where he's like projected on a camera, or like the back of his head kind of thing.
Like the old Thanos, to court them is to court death, and he just turns. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think it'll be more like the conversation will be it'll be Judge Renslayer talking to somebody. And it'll just pan, so we're looking at her talking to somebody, and the camera will come back, and you'll see the back of his head, but it'll be in the shape that we recognize as his helmet.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He's also related, and this is weird, he's also related to Doctor Doom.
Yeah, there's something about that they had to share technology, but I'm not sure about the actual
At first, they thought that they were actually each other.
Mm.
Like, that Doctor Doom thought that Kang, well, he wasn't Kang at the time, he was Raman Tut, because he wanted to go back to Egypt and rule as a magical being. He believed that, are you me, but in the future? And Raman Tut was like, am I you from the future? How are we in the same place at the same time?
Huh.
Maybe I'm just your ancestor. Or, I mean, maybe you're just my ancestor. So there's confusion exactly. Because the problem is that Nathaniel Richards is also the name of Reed Richards' father, who was an abusive a-hole, who also turned out to be a time-traveling jackass. So
there's from his loins.
Yeah.
From his loins.
Exactly. Game Kang, one of the worst.
Variant status.
I'd like to say that the salad metaphor proves Loki is still a dick. He didn't have to ruin Mobius's lunch. But I think that the buddy cop aspect between the two is pretty cool, and the fact that they were downright giddy about Pompeii.
Yeah.
They were in Pompeii. They were like two little schoolgirls about to see One Direction. And what they were about to watch was the desolation of an entire city and population based on an explosion.
Yeah.
That was funny. in a weird
Let the
dark
goats
humor kind of way.
go.
But
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's cool, but no, not now, man. It's in bad taste.
yeah, it's almost like it's too soon. It's like it's not
Dude,
too
it's
soon.
too soon.
It happens. It happens eons ago. I was like, no, it's happening right now.
It's happening right now.
Dun, 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 dun.
So
I thought it
we
was
never
interesting
discussed
that Alabama got wiped out by a hurricane.
In 2050.
in 2050.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense because climate change sucks, and hurricanes are only going to get
Yeah.
worse.
Ugh.
And we know all about those, don't we? Living
that-
in
and-
Florida.
yeah, so that was a larger apocalyptic event than Asgard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they rate everything
Yeah,
by deaths, I imagine, because
yeah,
Right.
the square footage of
Yeah.
of Asgard to Alabama or that one town, that's a little different.
yeah. So there
Okay.
was almost 10,000 people lost in the Asgardian
Right.
Ragnarok, but apparently there's going to be more than 10,000 lost in this hurricane,
Yeah.
which makes sense because I mean, you look at how many people died in Katrina and in Andrew, which we all
Yeah.
which we all lived through. So
Yeah.
that was pretty sad. But Roxxon, baby. So that Rox cart, that store,
Yeah.
that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, I know you don't know what that means, but I'm sure you know about Oscorp.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Roxxon is like Oscorp. They are an
Okay.
evil conglomerate company.
Who runs it?
Oh God, it's several people. It's not just one person. Unlike Oscorp, where it's Norman Osborn. Roxxon has
Right.
they have a board of just evil assholes. But they're actually they're responsible for what's called Weapon H, which was they took the DNA from Hulk, and they took the DNA from Wolverine. They took a dead army soldier, revived him, and injected him with Hulk and Wolverine DNA, and created
Wow.
Weapon H.
Oh my gosh.
He turned on him, but yeah. So think about a Hulk with an adamantium skeleton and claws.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Clayton Cortez
Yep. That
is a
is.
Marine.
Yeah. It was pretty.
You think they're gonna make a movie or a series about that then? Because that seems really interesting. I would like to know who runs it, why, how that came to be. That's kind of interesting.
I know that Roxxon will play a bigger part moving forward, so we will learn more about it.
This also could be a clue to She-Hulk.
That is true. We have She-Hulk coming up.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. That's supposed to be a legal comedy because she's actually an attorney.
Yeah.
So they're going to make that like a legal comedy series. But the people that are in it, some of them, like the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk, will be back.
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo returns as the Hulk because that's his cousin. She-Hulk is his cousin.
Like as them combined or just
Just in the
as
series. Just
themselves?
in the series.
No, I mean like as Hulk and Bruce Banner combined, like to
Yeah,
make him.
The smart
Okay.
Hulk. He's going to stay that
Yeah.
way.
Okay. Okay.
There is a rumor that Hulk's son from Sakaar will be in it.
I did hear that too.
That would be interesting because remember, Hulk spent 2 years on that planet before Thor got there. So he could have been bumping uglies with whoever he wanted.
God.
I know
Selling notes.
in the comic books, in the Planet Hulk story, he's on that planet for much longer. And he
Yes.
becomes king of Sakaar. And his wife and him do have a child. And because his wife is what's called she's of the old power, which is like a mystical force on that planet. The second their son is born, he can walk and talk, and he ages rapidly. And so he's got the powers of the Hulk and this old power running through him. So he's pretty powerful. Now, he's not as strong as the Hulk, but he's still a formidable warrior. And so it'll be interesting to see how they bring him in. I don't 100% believe that rumor because it kind of doesn't make sense to pop that kind of character into a legal comedy. It's only going to be 30 minutes an episode. But,
Well, you know what? Speaking on that, I thought it was really interesting how they broke down what Loki's powers actually are. Like when he literally gives us a description, like the difference between the two. That's one of the parts where I had to go back and rewind it a couple times because I'm like, wait a minute, you're making my brain hurt. What? Okay.
yeah, that was actually fascinating
Wow.
and something they should be
Yeah.
doing more of. But it's just like, no, those are two different things.
Yeah,
And they're
please,
like,
you guys
what?
talk about that more because that was really interesting. So, what do you know about that?
Well, he actually broke it down in pretty much a scientific way, like why the
Yeah,
powers are different.
And let's also keep in mind those are his powers. That's just what that Loki can do.
Yeah, that's true
There's,
too.
there's
right.
other things that other Lokis can do that he cannot,
Yeah.
and we're going to find out what else. Because we've already gotten a taste of what she can do already that he can't.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say that I still think Loki can possess people because there's been comments, I think it was in Ragnarok, where he talks about possessing somebody else. But unlike Lady Loki, I don't think when Loki possesses somebody, they get his strength. Whereas in Lady Loki's case, those normal humans were beating the ever-loving crap out of a god.
Right.
Mhm.
So even when it's the same power, there's different levels to it based on which variant it is.
Hmm.
So that's pretty interesting.
You know what else I found interesting was Miss Minute,
She
like
was so
her
cute.
on Loki's desk. That was, but then I was confused because she was saying that he asked like if you're real or you're alive or something like that, and she
Yeah.
was like yes and no, or
No, she said both.
like
Yes.
yeah, both. So that's interesting in itself.
Yeah. So I think part of that is because they're outside of time. But that brings me to a theory that I'm going to drop right here, right now, before anywhere else.
Dun dun dun.
I think the TVA is inside the quantum city that we found in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh my gosh.
I think
And
that's
that-
where the TVA is. Now, you and I talked last night, and I thought that's
Wow.
where King the Conqueror was, and that's something they did in Quantum Mania would release him. However, I now think the TVA is there. King the Conqueror could still be there. If the theory
Wow.
is, if the theory
Yes.
is he's the one actually pulling the strings behind the scenes, trying to control time, Quantum Mania could break him out of there. That's why he's trying. I think maybe part of why he's trying to control it is to get out of there. Like he's imprisoned. Not by the TVA, but he's stuck there and he needs a way out. So if he can control the timeline, he can find a way to get out. But now something will happen in Quantum Mania that might break him out. But I think the TVA is in that timeline.
I just got goosebumps. That is
Yeah,
such a cool theory. That's
and
awesome.
the city's name is Chronopolis.
Chronopolis,
And
yes.
Time does exist there, but it's just not the same as it is on Earth. That's the rules in the quantum realm. That was mirrored in Janet Van Dyne,
Yep.
and also by Mobius when he described the time variance authority. Time moves differently. So yes, there is time there. It just behaves differently, and it's very feasible it could be in the quantum verse.
Yes.
What another part, but this is from episode 1, and it just popped into my head. You remember when he was like, you should recognize this, like when he was showing him the city and he was like, you should recognize this, basically something to that thought.
I
that
vaguely know what you're talking about, yeah. By the way,
So
Denise, real
interesting.
quick, can you turn your overhead light on? You're starting to get dark. The sun's going down.
Oh
where you're
yeah,
at.
it's getting nighttime, people.
There we go.
Better.
Yeah, it's a little washed out, but it's okay. It's better than you being in the dark. Okay. Because that's the whole point of this podcast is to get you out of the dark and into the light of knowledge of nerdy stuff.
That's right.
Very good use of words. there,
Segue. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
By the way, on that theory and any other theories that anybody has, please comment down below. Once again, we want to hear your theories as well, your thoughts on our theories, what you might think is coming up. Let us know. Anything you want us to cover as well, let us know down below in the comments. We'd appreciate that. Denise, I want you to talk more on the conversation between Loki and Lady Loki, where Loki spells out what his plan is to go after the TVA and rule the TVA, and how she basically says that's child's play compared to what's going on.
Child's play. She has like a much grander plan, and like you said earlier, if she is like the supreme Loki, the way that that episode ended just shows it. So it kind of puts Loki in his place because he kept throughout the episode just saying, I'm the best one, by the way. you know.
Yeah, his ego couldn't stand
Plan
it.
was insane. It was just well calculated, thought out. Like there was nothing that was going to stop that from happening.
Okay, so let's talk about her plan and where she put all those bombs to create those branches.
Yeah.
Oh yes, please, yeah.
So there was one she put in Vietnam in August 3rd, 1522.
What?
She put one in Lisbon, Portugal on March 31st, 1492.
Wait, before you continue, how did you get that information?
Yeah, I want to look this up. I want to see the
If you
spreadsheet.
go on during the episode, the camera zooms in on their monitor with the branches, and then it shows underneath each one where the branches are coming from. So it's where she put the bombs. Now, the second one I just said, Lisbon, Portugal, March 31st, 1492. This is a real-life historical event.
Mhm.
That's when Christopher Columbus set sail from Portugal towards America.
Right.
Wow.
So she put a bomb there.
1492.
She puts a bomb at Vormir, the home of the Soul Stone, but it's April 23rd, 2301.
And what does that mean?
That somebody else is going to go after the Soul Stone in the year 2301.
Wow.
Because she didn't pick random events. She picked events on purpose. Here's another one.
The Soul Stone that's now a paperweight, you mean?
Well, when it gets pulled out of time, it's a paperweight. When it goes back to its proper time, it's just as powerful.
That's true.
There's an event in Thornton, USA on October 25th, 1981. Don't know what that is. Cooksville, November 22nd, 1999. Asgard, February 16th of 2004.
That was just before the first Thor movie?
That is 4 to 6 years before the first Thor movie. So it's just some big battle that Thor had.
Huh.
Rome, Italy, October 3rd, 1390. Sakar Teo. So the planet Sakar, but in August 13th of 1984. She does one in Barichara. I don't even know what that is. I don't know if that's a planet or something, but it's February 2nd, 1808. There is a Porvoo, Finland, July 14th, 1708. That date sounds familiar. I can't think off the head. Now, okay, so here's one of the biggest ones. There's actually two of them right here. December 27th, 1382.
Ego the Planet.
Ego the Planet. From Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Wow.
Star-Lord's father. She puts one on his planet in 1382.
Wow.
Which I
think... That's going to have a major effect.
Well, I think that's when he decided he needed to find mates. He needed to find other planets to mate with, to spread his seed, is right around that time, because he talks about going through time and whatnot. Now, the next one, October 13th, 1982, on Titan.
Yeah.
Titan is the planet that Thanos is from, that Doctor Strange and Iron Man fight him on in Infinity War. And you remember the wreckage of all of what the planet used to be behind them? And he shows on a reality stone how colorful and beautiful it used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
In episode 1, in the cartoon, in the Multiverse War, you see those same buildings in the background being destroyed.
Huh.
They look like pinwheels.
Yeah.
So did the Multiversal War happen in 1982, which also happens to be the year of my birth, which means I'm a multiversal being. Anyways, Nexus event. There you go.
Variant. No matter if you get it
No. I'm a Nexus being. I'm also Atlantean. We've discussed that before in private. We'll get into that another day. Comment down below if you want to know why I'm Atlantean.
Yay! Oh my god, that was good.
Another event was September 21st, 1947 in New York. So 2 years after the end of World War II. March 1st, 1984, Tokyo, Japan. January 3rd of the year 51 in Hala, which is another planet.
Wow.
Kingsport, USA, August 2nd, 1999. Xandar, the home of the Nova Prime.
Yeah.
The Nova Corps. September 24th, 1001, which is most likely when they formed.
Wow.
Not when they activated the supercomputer.
Yeah. Then there's one in Beijing in 2005 and Madrid in 1903. Oh, that one in Madrid, I think, is important too. Oh, God. Okay, so real quick. Asgard's Enchantress has commented on my video about her not being the variant. So let's see what that is while you guys talk this out. This ought to be interesting.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I made a video how I don't think it's Enchantress, like we talked about earlier. Apparently, she has decided to comment on my... So, let's see.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Introducing Sylvie before Amora would lead me to insanity. And I agree. Okay. So what that means is Amora is the original Enchantress. Born of Asgard. Not a human who was taken over. So introducing the second version before the first version is going to upset quite a few people. And I get that. So that's another reason I think it's just an Easter egg and not... I think that instead of Enchantress taking over this human's body, Lady Loki has taken over this human's body and not Lady Sif's body. But yeah, so going back to the... She's picked all these historical moments, and these are moments that I think were majorly pruned by the Time Variance Authority, or the Timekeepers themselves, because they represent major breaks in the timeline that set up full multiverses. And she has decided that I'm going to reopen the multiverse, because that's the only way to have free will.
Do you think that possibly... it's not actually then Lady Loki? It's just like when she took over the workers in that area, just to like make him stand down and maybe like take a step back because it's not what he expected.
I mean,
and it could be somebody else.
I mean, maybe. I do think she's working for somebody else.
But what if it's not her at all? You know what I mean?
I don't think so, because and the only reason I say that it is her, but I think that she's doing it altruistically, is because I think she believes in the cause. Because there's some scenes coming up that were in the trailer where you see her on a Vormir. I think they're literally, when they went through that door, they're going to end up going back to each one of those points. Because you see a New York completely destroyed. You then see a Volmir completely destroyed. You see a Titan completely destroyed. So I think we're going to go back to these moments. But there's a moment, she's sitting there. In the scene, it's very, like, you see all the purple light of Vormir. And she's sitting there, her shoulders have kind of dropped, and she's just sitting there looking at it. And he goes and sits next to her to talk to her. So she's very, like, it's almost like I didn't want to do this, but I had to because it's the best thing for humanity in the universe.
Yeah, and that's where everybody was speculating that it was it was Black Widow.
But again, that's someone else's opinions, just like the Timekeepers trying to say what's best for everybody else as well.
Well, just because it's your opinion doesn't mean you're not working altruistically.
Right.
If you believe you're working altruistically, you're working altruistically. That's the key about that. She could be wrong, but it doesn't mean she's not doing it for a bigger cause. But she could also be manipulated into thinking it's the right thing by King Loki, who I still think will be played by Richard E. Grant. And then King Loki is a Loki from the future who is all-powerful. He's a very powerful Loki. But he's also, like, he's very pretentious, and he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, which is why he has Lady Loki doing his dirty work.
Oh, so, kind of like Hela then.
Yeah, where she wanted an executioner, instead of her doing it.
Yeah, it seemed like that was her role. Okay. I guess another question that I have then for you guys was, and I know this came into question a couple times, but when they were at it looked like a Renaissance fair.
It was 1985 in Wisconsin, a Renaissance fair.
Yeah. Where he was like, why don't we just go back in time and stop it at that point? Like, why are we here? And I feel like, remember, it was like Rhodey was like, maybe we should just go get baby Thanos and
Just went really dark, guys.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, Jason, but it's really interesting because, like, how sensitive is time then in your decisions that you choose to interact with?
Jason, I'll let you jump on that one and explain the endgame version of time travel.
Well, as far as I could tell, it's not the grandfather paradox. It's the if you go into the past, you're, as Smart Hulk said it, your past then becomes your future. Wherein if you go into the past, whatever, if you stay there, that past that you have already lived is now going to be your present into your future. So that's the theory that Marvel has held on to as far as how time travel works. So in a sense, you could still accomplish a lot of things without creating a paradox, let's say. And the reason that they had mentioned in the show why you couldn't go back before is because it's unstable and you need to do it in real time. Otherwise, it'll just create, essentially it would create another variant, and then you would miss your target.
You actually end up creating two Nexus events by going back just before.
So,
because it's weird. This is the weird thing about the Nexus events. These variants create. They have time before it redlines, before it becomes permanent, which is kind of weird. It's not an instantaneous thing. But that's because of the way humans think about time. If you change something, it should be instantaneous if you change time. It's not.
Right.
So they have time, and that's why they have to fix it in real time. But if you were to go back just before it happened and stop it, that one Nexus event is still happening, but now you've created a second one, and now it would just be a never-ending cycle of going back and ultimately that would destroy the sacred timeline as well.
That makes sense. That was one of the parts I had to rewind a couple times. I was like, what?
So there's something else I want to bring up. It was in the credits. And I didn't see it in week 1. I'll have to go back and watch. But I definitely noticed it this time. There is a sling ring on somebody's desk in the Time Variance Authority.
Really?
There is a Doctor Strange sling ring.
Wow.
And there has been some talk is because... Now, granted, all of the TVA has like this kind of orange overtone to it. It's very 70s in the way it's presented.
I love this. I love the aesthetic.
But their portals are orange, just like the sling ring portals. But where a sling ring is not a solid circle, it's kind of like a sparking circle. The TVA has nice solid doors, basically.
Right.
So do they have more control of it? Or is the sling ring something that could possibly create a Nexus event? Could you teleport at the wrong time? And that sling ring has become just another trinket on somebody's desk. Because again, in the TVA, so like Doctor Strange couldn't come in and save Loki, basically. Oh. You can't sling ring into or out of the TVA.
Yeah, but maybe he already knows it, and that's why he's not interfering.
Maybe. He may know, or he may not know, because don't forget, Doctor Strange had a big, long list of planetary threats that Loki happened to be on, but he had no idea who Thanos was.
Gosh.
He had no idea.
See, that's why my brain is hurting today. There's just so much information in this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, we've only got 4 more to go. So there kind of had to be a lot. But I think this next episode will actually be a lot of talking. I think this next episode is going to be Loki and Lady Loki having long, deep conversations on what's right, what's wrong, what's going on, what's the plan, that kind of stuff. As they jump from... And I think that she's jumping from time to time to make sure that the bombs worked, maybe. Like just checking to make sure her plan went through. But the TVA just fell apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good nod that he brought up that poem, werewolves' ears are, teeth are not far. Okay. Yeah, he gave away a lot of what was going to happen. And it was pretty obvious, but it was, it was nice.
Yeah.
So, and there was also that line, bad is not inherently bad, and good is not inherently good.
Because there's no perfect.
Yeah, things aren't black and white. There's a spectrum to everything, including evil and good. But we're still seeing a kind of evil Loki here. Because his plan was to take over and rule the TVA. And then he would be the one controlling the timeline and how it's supposed to go. So he's still working towards himself. It's still ego-driven. It's still kind of malicious in intent because he wouldn't care who he wiped out to make the timeline how he wanted it to be.
Right.
And Lady Loki's basically you think too small.
Yeah.
That's basically what she said.
Yeah. your thoughts are child play.
Yeah, and so while the TVA thinks that the Lady Loki is evil, she may not be. The TVA could be. They don't think they're,
Yeah.
maybe the people in the TVA don't think. But then again, we saw that they just don't care. Like that one
No.
agent pushing people around in the shelter, out of his way.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, show some compassion. They're gonna die. He's like, they're already dead.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like they have no compassion, and that's another reason that Mobius kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in the TVA.
Uh-huh.
Well, she said you have a passion for broken things.
And then I will say that when he said, apparently I'm not the only one, I did
Right.
find that interesting, and that might have been
Yeah.
another, like, did Kang come through the TVA and she kind of fall for him and
Yes.
stop him from being erased? Is that how they're going to play it in Marvel and the MCU? I do find it interesting she's about to go to battle. She grabbed
Oh.
her little boomstick, her retcon, or ret cannon.
Yeah.
She grabbed her ret cannon out of the office, and she's like, I'm going in. So we're going to see her be a badass here in a second. But what side is she on? Like, how is this going to work?
I think whatever it is, whoever did it wanted to get her out of her office. I think there's something in the office, something hidden.
Yeah, probably a way to the timekeepers.
Yeah.
Or the man behind the curtain. And that's like that. What the C-20 was the agent's name, which I also think
Right.
it's cold that the agents don't have names. B-15 and C-20.
Yeah.
She's like, I told them where the timekeepers are.
Yeah.
So
That's the one that just kept saying, I'm real, I'm real.
it's real. Yeah, it's real.
It's
It's
real.
real. It's real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real, it's real. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that she kind of comes around. I'd like to see her more. She's a good actress. She was really good. The new Hellboy isn't a great movie. It's okay. It's barely okay.
I've seen
But she's
it
really good in
something
it.
else, and I can't think of where it was. I'll have to look it up. But I've seen her in like a past movie.
Well, like I
and
said,
is
she just did the new Hellboy.
Mhm.
She was the girl who could talk to dead people.
Oh, yeah.
And she's done a couple other things, but she's fairly new in the game of acting. I mean, because she's young. She's only like early 20s.
There's a lot of good writing in there. It's insane. I wonder how these people even sleep at night with all this. Oh my god.
So, do you think we did get a view of some of the Lokis in that hologram? But do you think we might see those in person?
Hmm.
Because I do think we're getting to Council of Lokis. When we finally get to King Loki, there will be other Lokis there, like sitting around, like almost like remember in Harry Potter when Harry Potter got put on trial in
Yeah.
a room like that.
Yeah.
That's my like theory of the Council of Lokis is that sitting in what would have been the head of the Ministry of Magic seat is King Loki, and then the other Lokis are sitting in these like high bleacher style seats around a circular thing.
Hmm.
Because I want to see that Mr. Hyde looking Loki.
That would be neat.
He looked like basically if Loki got hit by the gamma bomb instead of Bruce Banner.
Mhm.
Like that's how Loki would end up looking, I think, as like a Hulk. So
Well, that's interesting considering all the different Lokis that they presented.
well, again, like they said, he has been a variant almost more times than anybody else in the history of the TVA. So the Trickster God has really caused problems for the timeline. Which also explains the reservations of allowing this one to stay alive. Now the reservations of him staying alive make more sense. Because they've caused so many problems in time and they've had to eliminate so many variants. But are they actually eliminating them or are they getting away?
Well, obviously they're getting away if they just now caught just Loki when all these other ones were around before.
Well, I think they said they've eliminated them, but is that just BS that's told to other agents?
That could be the case.
Because again, I feel like I'm not 100% sold on the timekeepers being the true villains of the series, but I
No.
don't obviously see them as good either. I do think that they're just playing with it's like this is our toy. We want to play with it the way we want to play with it. Like I think that's how it is. They're shaping it how they want to shape it based on themselves.
it feels to me that something happened in the past with a Loki, and that's why they're just being very, very cautious now. It seems like they're not just, oh, it's because it's Loki, because if they've already dealt with past Lokis, then this one wouldn't be so much as a surprise. It feels like something bad happened in the past, and they're like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Like, it's kind of like they're going off of past circumstance. I guess that's not the right word, like past
No, I think past circumstances. I think that's exactly the right word. Yeah, there could have been a time when they've tried this before.
Right.
Where they tried to keep a variant Loki, knowing how powerful he is and how smart he is, to help them, and he tried to turn on them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
the feeling I get.
It seems that every variant has been evil.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm really looking forward to episode 3, and then that it's just, I can't, like, if my mind hurts after this one, I can only imagine how it's gonna go on. But talking to you guys about this just really, really helps, I guess, noob mind frame and all the explanations you guys give. So thank you for that.
Of course, it's our pleasure.
No problem.
Q, did you have any other notes or theories from the series, or from the show?
No, I think that was all I had. Well, maybe in the beginning, a lot of people were speculating if that was Agatha Harkness, who had no reaction to watching people step out of a portal into a Renaissance festival. And what were your thoughts?
I think she didn't notice the portal, but she got pissed about their aesthetic. And I really love the line, some of us need this.
Some of us need this.
Especially.
I think that was cute.
Well, I think, you know what? Actually, I'm surprised I didn't bring this up before. We actually need to dive into that, because that scene is the basis of this entire podcast. Back in 1985, being a Renaissance geek or a comic book nerd, it was shunned. It was made fun of. It was dismissed. Yeah. And that line, some of us really need this, it was the one place where you could go and actually be yourself. Nerd wasn't chic like it is now. And that's the whole point of this podcast is bringing more people into this world of nerd. But it wasn't something that could be done in 1985. And that line is really important, not to the show. It's important to the culture.
Yeah. I thought it was cute. That made me laugh.
Yeah. I don't think it's Agatha, but I just thought it was just because the portal actually it happens just basically the entrance of the tent.
She's like, you guys are not wearing the right stuff.
Yeah, so she only sees them come up. She thinks they're coming out of the bar tent, and she's just like, you guys are not dressed, So I thought that was really. That was a really good line and a really good moment.
Yeah.
Well, back in the first episode, there's some speculation that Peggy Carter was being arrested and coming through the Time Bureau.
Let's talk authority. About that. This goes back to the whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter not being part of the MCU. They're not. Kevin Feige has said as much. Did he come out and say that they're not? No, because he doesn't use negative words. What he did say was that the Disney Plus series will be the first ever TV series to tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Context Clues tells you that the previous shows, which were not run by him, they were run by Ike Perlmutter, and I hate even saying his name because he's a terrible human being. He forced them on Feige. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's Peggy Carter. That proves that Steve going back to get his happy ending wasn't true, and it wasn't supposed to happen. No, because Peggy wouldn't have been the one arrested. Steve would have been the one arrested.
Right. Yeah.
He would have been the variant, not her. But if you notice the outfit she's wearing, if it is Peggy Carter, which I highly doubt it is, she's wearing her outfit from Agent Carter. In other words, the Agent Carter is the variant, and they're wiping it out. They also said that Phil Coulson is dead. They put that nail in the coffin that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon. In other words, so if there's any variant of Peggy Carter, it's Agent Carter Peggy Carter, and they're wiping out that show from canon. That's basically what they're doing. it's just you can still love those shows. They don't have to be canon for you to enjoy them. I like some of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not all great. But Agent Carter is a great show. But it doesn't have to be canon to enjoy it. It's just like, do you enjoy What If comics? They're not canon. Do you enjoy Kingdom Come is the greatest graphic novel of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I have that book too.
Yeah, and it doesn't exist in canon. The Star Wars legend stories, all the novels about Star Wars, they're not canon, but they involve Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie. But they're not canon. But they're still good stories, and you can still enjoy them. They don't have to be canon to be enjoyed. And I think that this fan base, again, has its toxic minority that don't understand that things aren't black and white. Just because you enjoy it doesn't mean it's canon. Just because it's not canon doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. I think that that person that was brought in, if it is Peggy Carter, it's them putting the final nail in the coffin, but I don't even think it's Peggy Carter. But that's just my opinion. Comment down below what you think.
Yay, please. And so, gents.
Well, if you have nothing else to add, I have nothing else to add. I think this is a good time to bring it to an end. I think Loki episode 2 was absolutely amazing. There's so many questions that are going to be coming up. And the thing is, like, did Loki escape the TVA, or did he escape to try to figure out the real plan and end it? Like, is he still working for them? Like, who knows what's going on? I think there's so much going on.
I don't think Loki knows what he wants.
No, I don't think so either.
I just think he wants an audience with the timekeepers before he makes up his mind, honestly.
Well, like, I think he wanted an audience of timekeepers. 1, to see if they're real.
Yeah.
2, to trick them and try and take over the TVA.
Yeah, that too.
But
yeah.
I think at the end of the day,
see them. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, at the end of the day, we're seeing a more emotional side of Loki, a more human side. Like, he cried when he read that. He had to learn about the destruction of Asgard from a file document. They didn't show him that in the footage. So here's another thing. So not only did I die, not only did my mom die, not only did my dad die, my people died. My home is gone. But then did you see that instant switch when he read the 0 time variance energy? All of a sudden, once he got focused on something, the emotion gets shut off again, and boom, I'm going to go ruin his salad and be a dick.
All business.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see even more growth. Theories by T, who I've now mentioned in every podcast we've done. First off, I had to give a big congrats to him. Mr. Sunday Movies, one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, actually sourced him as part of their episode 2 breakdown. Because he did an interview with Tom Hiddleston. In that interview, Tom Hiddleston said that he believes episode 4 and 5 are the most game-changing episodes.
What? Awesome.
He says those 2 episodes together are ones that are going to change everything about Marvel.
Nice.
So we've got episode 3 coming up next week. Which I believe it's not. I wouldn't say filler episode. For lack of a better term, I'm gonna say filler. It's gonna be an exposition episode because you're gonna learn more about Lady Loki and why she's doing what she's doing and possibly who she's doing it for. But then we've got 4 and 5 where things are really gonna just boom. And I have a feeling that right now these episodes are about 45 minutes long. I have a feeling come episode 4, they're going to get to an hour to maybe an hour 15. So plan accordingly because they're going to be longer.
All right.
I have a feeling. I'm hoping to finally get a breakdown on the times of each episode here soon. I was able to get one for WandaVision and for Falcon ahead of schedule, so hopefully I can get one through Screen Geek. That's screengeek.net for all your comic book movie news. Link down below. So we'll have to check that out. But I do believe that episode 4, 5, and 6 will be longer. Probably not over an hour, though. They try to keep around the hour mark. Because, again, the end goal is 6 hours. Kevin Feige said the end goal for each series is to be 6 hours. So if you were to binge it after they all came out, it would be 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Some of the holes that Denise needs to fill is finally get around to watching WandaVision, which I
Oh,
will
really?
continue to hark on you until you do. Don't shake your head no.
Chop chop.
Also, did somebody watch the Eternals trailer?
Somebody is trying to.
Okay, look, I can understand that WandaVision is a bit of a commitment.
Right.
A 2-minute trailer is not a commitment.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like, okay, just watch it.
Oh, you poor thing, having to watch an amazing trailer for an awesome movie.
No, I don't want to. Like, I'm not a trailer person. I would rather watch it when it comes out. So, I mean, that's honestly where that comes from. I don't want to know anything about it ahead of time. I don't like surprises ruined. I just want to watch it when it comes out.
Well, that's one thing that's great about Marvel is they don't ruin surprises in their trailers. I think with with Eternals though, you do need to watch this trailer. One, because you know absolutely nothing about them.
Right.
So if you don't watch this, you have no desire to go see the movie because what do you care about characters you know nothing of? And you know, like this trailer, which I said it doesn't give anything away. It just introduces you to them. You can watch no other trailers after this.
Yeah.
I think this introductory trailer you need to watch.
I will.
So you need to watch that. It's 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
Tell everybody else they need to watch it too and comment.
Yes, I do want to hear what other people think about Eternals. Everybody down in the comments below, leave us your thoughts on Loki's episode 1 and 2 thus far. What do you think? Do you have any theories? What do you think of our theories? Are we wrong? Are we right? How off base are we? How on base are we? Are we stealing home? Who knows? Baseball metaphors. And let's go into the Eternals trailer. Have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on that? That's going to be a huge movie coming up. So let us know all of that before we go. In Q, final thoughts.
Still pretty pumped. Can't wait to see where this is going because still we can figure out where the rest of the movies and the plots are going.
Absolutely. Denise, final thoughts.
Don't pay attention to haters. Be you. That's it. Just keep being you. That's all that matters. God bless.
I will
also,
go ahead.
Thank you so much, guys. For real. Thank you so much. I don't know if a lot of people have the opportunity to talk to people that have had comic books in their lives since they've been little kids. And the amount of information that you guys have helps me out so much when I'm watching these movies. Because they are interesting, but there's so much that's just not explained. So thank you guys so much for doing this with me.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, that's why this podcast exists.
Yeah.
There are a few podcasts out there that kind of cover this kind of stuff, but they don't ever cover it from both ends of the spectrum. And that's what I'm hoping to accomplish here, and I hope that we're able to do that by, covering both ends of the spectrum, because as much as we're teaching you, coming in with fresh eyes, you're teaching us things, you're catching things, and you're helping us see things as well. So it's helpful on both ends of that spectrum.
Oh, cool.
So I just want to say that, the last year or so has been hell for everybody, but as the world tries to get back to some semblance of normal, movies are coming back, entertainment is coming back, and we will be here for all of it to entertain you all. We're hoping you enjoy the show. We're going to keep doing this, whether we get one listener or a million, because it's fun. This is fun. And as anyone can tell, I love to talk. So, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when new episodes come up. Comment down below any of your thoughts and your theories, and we'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Make sure you go check out ScreenGeek.net for all your current comic book movie news. Special thanks from The Coldest Water. If you go to coldestwater.com/Vince, you get 10% off of any one of your thermoses. They are the best thermoses on the market. They're made right here in Florida by people who know all about being overheated. So...
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go get one of those.
They have all a bunch of different sizes. You pop it in the freezer the night before, and then you put your water in it, and your water is ice cold literally all day. It's got 18 hours worth of cold time. So they're amazing, and I do believe they're coming out with a strawed version, because right now this is just a pop the top, drink it. I think they said they're coming out with a strawed version as well. So go check out thecoldestwater.com. Also, our podcast, both this one and Questions from a Noob, are up on Anchor.fm. They're also up on Spotify, iTunes, now on Google Play, our Google Podcast. We're on, hold on, I have the whole list. We're on Breaker. We're on...
Just post it in the thing. Let's do that.
Ah, crap, I can't find it. So but we're on like a dozen platforms now. So pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find us. So please go check out the audio versions of these, as well as on YouTube. You can find us. We'll be around. Also, one more plug for my YouTube. So this is all based around my YouTube channel, A Bearded Perspective. Very soon, probably by the end of the week, I will have my first A History of episode up. I'm going to cover the Council of Lokis. So we're going to get another dive into what the Council of Lokis are, where they come from in the comic books, and their history. Go ahead. What?
Oh, it's just a nice.
Oh, I thought you said can I? I was like, okay.
Congrats.
That will hopefully be every week. I'll also do a This Week in Screen Geek episode where I discuss the news of the week as well. So there's a lot coming to the Bearded Perspective brand, where you will always find these podcasts and so much more. And if you guys have any other thoughts or anything, leave them in the comments below. Let us know. I will do my best to respond to everyone whenever I can. Also, go to my TikTok at
Super Beard.
I am always available there. I post tons on there. You can always talk to me there. So there's that as well. Very soon, we're going to have guests on the show. Theories by T has already agreed to come on, as well as Dimitri from The Keeg Show. I've got a few others that are going to come on as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to start reaching out to maybe some celebrities. Maybe some Marvel celebrities.
Ooh.
So keep an eye out for that. And if there's a topic that you want us to discuss, whether it be here or on Questions from a Noob, let us know about that as well, and we'll be more than happy to hit on that. So,
or if you are a Marvel celebrity, go ahead.
Yeah,
shoot us
hit us up.
Shoot us some.
Yeah,
just shoot us.
Let's skip the red tape.
Let's skip all of that and just go straight to it.
Yeah, we're friendly. So, we lost Denise on camera, but that's okay. We're gonna sign off here anyways. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be posting these now. As Loki's on Wednesdays, we're going to record these Wednesday nights, and they'll be posted every Thursday, noon Eastern Time, 9 Pacific. We will see you then. Thank you so much.
All right, peace.